We've got 15 r/AmITheDevil Reddit stories for you guys today. Starting it off, what? With owning a pet is mostly about being part of a cult. And I wonder when pet addicts are going to snap out of it. I feel like this one's directly at me because I make jokes about me and my chat being in a cult that worships beans. I feel called out. But stick around for 14 more absolutely evil AmITheDevil Reddit stories, such as, should I do what's best for myself or for my son? Yep, we know this one's gonna hurt. And finally, the story that we're gonna end the video on, am I the a-hole for asking my pregnant with twins wife for a specific blowjob day of the week? I can't believe this is a Reddit post. I really can't. Chat, y'all already know what the deal is. Let's lock in here and read some Reddit. Owning a pet is mostly about being part of a cult, and I wonder when pet addicts are going to snap out of it. I took a break from the pet-free subs to take a step back, and what I've noticed today since coming back is how pet addicts continue to repeat the same nonsensical anti-human monologues as if they're in a trance by the neurological effects that their pet parasites have on their cognition. Is this fucking Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory? Like, that's how homeboy is talking right now. Actually, some nonsensical anti-human monologue. Neurological effects of their pet parasites on their cognition. Like, shut the fuck up, bro. What is a pet-free sub? Are you telling me there are subreddits of pet haters out there? I asked Gemini AI, what are symptoms of being in a cult? And it gave the following answer. Quite enlightening, and all I'm thinking is that it's a waste of time trying to argue with pet addicts because they're so conditioned to not simply see that pet animals are a completely different species they can't reproduce with, let alone experience real love with. And they've basically sacrificed their human rights to live a life of servitude. Symptoms of being in a cult include unquestioning loyalty to a leader, OP cross that out and put pet in bold, isolation, and fear of the outside world. Cults are often dangerous organizations that manipulate and harm their members. Symptoms include unquestioning loyalty. Members worship a charismatic leader, pet, without question. Isolation. Members are isolated from family and friends. Fear. Members have unreasonable fears of the outside world, such as evil conspiracies or persecutions. No tolerance for questions. Members are not allowed to ask questions or question the leader/pet. He's cooking, chat. I can never question beans. I could never do that. What baby boy wants, baby boy gets, bro. No financial disclosure. There is no transparency about the group's finances. Excessive vet bills and GoFundMe pages to pay for excessive vet bills. No legitimate reason to leave. Former members are blamed for leaving and are considered wrong or evil. Groupthink. Members share common beliefs and are controlled by groupthink rather than individualism. Abuse. Members may be abused physically or psychologically. He might be cooking with that last one because look at my arm. No, Beans would never abuse me, guys. Don't even worry about it. Don't look at my arms. Not even a little bit. Other characteristics of cults: secretiveness, hostility to non-members, authoritarianism without accountability, and illegal and dangerous behaviors. Okay, don't get me wrong, bro's kind of cooking with some of the points, but the whole thing about that is that if you try hard enough, you can make an argument for anything. There are so many things in this world that we can chalk up to cults. Like, for example, sports fans. You could fucking correlate everything that OP just said to dudes liking sports teams. If anything, I think sports teams have more cult-like characteristics than owning a pet. If owning a pet is being in a cult, I'll join that shit any day of the week. I love my baby boy. I would do anything for him, even join a cult. Harjim, everything is a cult. Even like this YouTube channel, someone could argue has cult-like characteristics. The fact he says he looks at a pet and is mad he can't fuck it and reproduce. I don't think he said that he wants to fuck it and reproduce. Like, he's basically saying they're so conditioned to not simply see that pet animals are a completely different species they can't reproduce with, let alone experience real love with. So like, he's basically saying, oh, if you can't experience real love with it, you shouldn't worship it. Chat, this guy's writing this shit from his mom's basement. There's no way this guy has everything put together in his shit, you know? If your biggest op in life is a fucking animal, you gotta fucking figure your shit out, bro. Posted in r/make my choice. Should I do what's best for myself or for my son? I got married and was very clear beforehand about never wanting to have kids, but I was baby trapped by my wife who lied about using birth control and then refused to have an abortion. Things were pretty rough between me and her because of that and a lot of other reasons, but I stayed with her and helped raise our son because I felt like it was the right thing to do. But things kept on getting worse. She's extremely unstable and lies all the time. So about a year ago, I left and got my own place. My son is 5 years old right now. We've been co-parenting for the last year with me watching our son 2 to 3 days per week. I want to keep doing this because it means that I can look after my son and be a part of his life, while still having days where I don't need to deal with all the stress of being a parent because I really don't like it. However, things between my ex-wife and son aren't great. She is emotionally unstable and has poor self-control. She doesn't listen to him and doesn't get along with him nearly as well as I do. And sometimes when she's in a bad mood, she'll take out her anger on him by shouting, pushing him, threatening to neglect him, like not feeding him, etc. Most of the time, she is an okay parent, but seeing how she acts when she's in a bad mood and seeing how my son always says he wants to stay with me and not see her, it's obvious that this isn't a great situation for him. I don't think she'll do anything dumb enough to seriously injure him, but he's going to have a lot of issues growing up in this kind of environment. Bruh, even if she hasn't done anything seriously to injure him, which is also arguable, everything she's displaying are signs that this could lead to her seriously injuring him. The problem is that, again, even though I can play the part of a good parent, I don't even like kids. I'm very introverted, maybe even autistic, and very sensitive to noise and distractions. I need a lot of time to myself to stay sane, and I just can't get that when I'm a solo father. I don't have any kind of family to support me in this country, so if I take full custody, I'm going to be all on my own, and the only time I'll have to myself is when he's in school or when I pay for extracurricular activities / babysitters, which gets expensive. I don't think I'll be able to get child support from her even if I take full custody. I also would really like to date and get a new partner. But if I have a kid I'm solely responsible for, 99% of women are going to just refuse to have anything to do with me. And the ones who are okay with a guy with a kid are probably women who like kids and want to have more kids, which again, I don't want. I didn't even want one, let alone to build an even bigger family. To make matters worse, she's not adapting well to co-parenting. She regularly tries to start fights with me even when our son is right there, and I'm reminding her that we should not argue in front of him. She has also made false allegations about me to my friends and family to try to turn people against me, and is generally doing everything in her power to hurt me, so I would really like to get her out of my life entirely. So in short, 1, should I pursue my own happiness by just giving her full custody plus paying child support and getting out of the situation entirely so I can start living the life I want to have again? 2, should I put my son's happiness first by trying to get full custody, even though I'll probably have to give up on all my dreams, happiness, and any chance of having a new partner for the next 13 years? 3, should I keep on trying to co-parent even though my ex is basically trying to destroy my life? And just seeing me is sometimes enough to set her off. OP is a victim. I don't think we should ignore that. If he was truly baby trapped, like, that's SA. But what I will say is I think option 1 is off the table because the time to completely wipe your hands clean of that baby was from the beginning. You have now been a part of this kid's life to a point where he'll remember you and that you're actively there for him. If you completely relinquish custody of this kid, that is you being a shitty parent, shitty father. That shouldn't be on the table. That was on the table when this first all went down, and you did not commit to that. You committed to taking care of this kid, and that is a commitment for life, no matter if it takes away your happiness. OP needs to realize that his son is in a very bad situation. I think in his head, he's like, it's kind of bad. No, bro, this is pretty fucking bad. You took the role of a father for this kid, and you have to stick to that role for 18 years minimum, no matter what, if not for the rest of your life. You can't just be a father when it's convenient. You guys are talking about like new partners and stuff, like I think that's the most selfish part about this is like, if you have a kid that you're raising, like that shouldn't even be on the radar. Like it's tough, chat, because I don't think OP should even raise a kid with the mentality that they have, but based off the current situation, it's what is right. Running out on a child sucks, but in reality, a child can tell if they are unwanted, and they grow into adults who know they were unwanted children. There's something to be said for getting the child into a place where they feel loved and supported, even if that's not with their birth parents. I think this is not a scenario that's on the table. I mean, obviously we don't know what country they're in. We don't know the nuances, but from what I know, adoption and foster care isn't something that you can just like, oh yeah, let's go do that. I don't think there is an ideal perfect world scenario in this. It's just there's a kid who needs to be taken care of. There's a dad who took up that responsibility and wants to run away, but shouldn't. And that is unfortunately like the best case scenario here, unless there's a third piece that we're missing. I have no faith in our like adoption and foster system to have a high likelihood of putting him in a home with a loving family. This kid is fucked. There's just certain scenarios where the kid is like slightly less fucked. And to me, it makes sense for him to maybe not have a loving dad, but also not being beat by his mom. I have finally realized my girlfriend isn't nagging. I'm just not respecting her concerns. Now that I've realized this, how do I change the behavior? We have a 28 male OP, 27 female girlfriend. I often don't use the word nagging in my head because I, falsely, think that's just a dirty word that only shitty partners use. So instead, I think things like she's neurotic or a control freak or being too hard on me, which is even worse. But somehow it kept me distance from and lying to myself about what I'm doing. Yeah, what the fuck? Nagging is way less worse than neurotic, control freak, or being too hard on you. What the fuck? It creates a cycle where she'll tell me not to do something or ask me to do it differently. I apologize, but internally, I don't see where she's coming from or think about why she actually cares. I get defensive in my head, telling myself why I did it and twisting it onto her for not understanding why I did it in the first place. Sometimes I'll explain my reasoning, which gets respectfully but firmly shut down, rightly so on her part. And then I play the victim and think I'm being invalidated. Then I repeat the behavior. She's upset because I clearly didn't listen or take it seriously enough to change last time. And I feel a growing resentment for being criticized all the time. It's so toxic and it's hurting our relationship so much. I do love her and have respect for her, but in the moment, I just think of myself and throw her under the bus. She doesn't deserve that. How can I change? Bro, do you even fucking care how your girlfriend feels? Like, this dude just sounds selfish and narcissistic. All I'm getting from this is, I feel this, I think that, I blah, 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 blah. What about your girlfriend, bro? Do you actually even fucking care about her? Like, how can I change? Learn how to do some empathy, bro. Learn how to put yourself in other people's shoes and think about how they feel in a certain situation and not think about only you. Like, the fact that someone had to write a post like this to get advice blows my mind. Like, you know what the problem is. The problem is you're a fuckhead. What's the solution? Don't be a fuckhead. Does he think she wants to nag him? No, like, exactly. If I had a partner and they made this post on Reddit, that would be the biggest ick for me. Like, how do you not have the brain cells to figure out the concept of having empathy for your partner, for the person that you're supposed to love and respect the most on this planet, and you can't even figure out how to like give them the baseline that is deserved in being in a relationship? The more I read Reddit stories, the more I hear about the shitty things dudes do, the more I'm like, are we just born without empathy and some people just never figure it the fuck out? I respect him for finally figuring out the issue and trying to be better. I don't know if I'd say I respect him. I mean, good for you, bro. You did it. But also, that isn't something that we should applaud. It should just be like a baseline requirement of being a human being. If anything, I respect him less for having to really come to this realization that like any normal person would just think like, oh, she said I did something wrong. I'm probably doing something wrong. It's not something to be like praise, you know? My wife is sad because I got my close friend gourmet ice cream when she was sick. Am I wrong? My wife and I have been married for 5 years and we've never really had any major relationship issues. However, I did something yesterday, and my wife has been kind of sad and aloof since. For context, my wife has been really sick for the past couple of days, and she's been staying at home. Now, normally, I would have taken PTO to support my wife, but work was really busy this week, and I had to go to the office for important meetings. My wife was very understanding, but did ask if I could come home soon after work, and I said sure. I am also close friends with Jelena. We've been friends for 5 years, and she works at my same company, albeit in a completely different department. My wife knows about Jelena, and Jelena's even come to our house a couple of times for dinner. While my wife isn't super close with Jelena, she does think Jelena is sweet. Yesterday was Jelena's birthday, and we usually don't do anything fancy on birthdays. We just give each other small gifts or go have lunch/dinner. So after work yesterday, Jelena and I went to a fancy ice cream place nearby, which had opened a couple of months ago, and that was my treat/birthday gift to her. The whole thing took maybe like 40 minutes, and I went home immediately after that. When I got back home, my wife asked me why I was late, and I told her it was Jelena's birthday, and we just went to have ice cream after work. My wife looked very sad after that, and I asked if I did something wrong. My wife said no, but ever since then, she's been kind of sad. I asked my wife multiple times why she's sad, and I even apologized, but my wife told me there's no reason to apologize and I did nothing wrong. Do I think bro just committed the mortal sin against his marriage? No. I am a little suspicious of the fact that he didn't ask if his wife wanted ice cream. Like, I can see y'all in chat. Y'all are saying it too. I would have been like, bro isn't doing anything wrong if he had just been like, oh, let me call my wife and ask her what she wants. Let me call her and let her know ahead of time that I'm with someone of the opposite gender celebrating their birthday real quick, but I'm including her in this activity and she'll benefit from it. That's the only part that I'm like not a super fan of. Could he as a man done better? Yes. But it's not like he was hiding it. It's not like he was like, oh, let me just take you for ice cream for no reason and pay for it and basically go out on a date with you. Let me try to hide it from my wife. There was none of that. Like, it makes sense for them to go and do something for her birthday. If that is something that they would traditionally do, if they're family friends, I can see it. I would have never put that in AmITheDevil. Should he have gotten his wife ice cream? Absolutely. Does he maybe need to do some extra TLC to make his wife feel better? 100%. Do I think he's the devil? Nah. Especially with some of the absolutely shitty people we've seen in the subreddit. Like, this is mediocre at best. My friend let me move in after my parents kicked me out, but now he's furious because I can't cook. My food smells disgusting, and I feel like a complete burden. So I, 28 male, autistic, moved in with my friend Jake, fake name, a few weeks ago after my parents kicked me out. Long story short, they threw away my entire Funko Pop collection. I lost it, broke my dad's phone, and got told to leave. Jake and I have been friends since middle school, so I thought living together would be fine, but it's turning into a disaster, and it's mostly my fault. I can't cook, like at all. I've always struggled with timing, smells, and just knowing when food is actually done. On top of that, I hyper focus on weird food combinations because I get obsessed with specific tastes and textures, which is where things went really wrong. I know this is somebody with autism, and for that, maybe I'm wrong for this, but I truly think if you can't cook, that's just a lazy excuse. Oh, I want to make chicken Alfredo. How to make chicken Alfredo on your phone. Even if you're making chicken Alfredo, you can just get pasta, chicken, and Alfredo pre-made sauce. We live in a day and age where if you can't cook, that's really code for I'm too lazy to figure it the fuck out, which is also a red flag in my opinion. Like, if you can't figure out how to make yourself your own food, like, the first time I tried to make tuna ramen. Is that a thing? I've never heard of that. That sounds fucking terrible. I would never mix tuna and ramen. I could understand if you want to eat ramen separate and then tuna separate. That I understand. But together? That sounds disgusting, bro. We're doing a quick poll, chat. I gotta know, are we fucking with this shit or what? Looks like hell no one, but there are people who said they'd eat it. I would not eat that. That sounds disgusting. I'm gonna get the tuna ramen lovers of YouTube on this video like, fuck you, Sarby. Piece of shit. I love my tuna ramen. The first time I tried to make tuna ramen, I saw it in a video, but somehow I overcooked the noodles until they were mush, dumped in way too much mayo and mustard because the recipe said a little, but I couldn't figure out what that meant, and then accidentally left the burner on low, so the whole thing got this sour, burnt fish smell that hung in the kitchen for days. Another time, I made hot dog rice, which is just chopped hot dogs mixed with rice and ketchup, except I burned the rice to the bottom of the pot, and somehow the hot dogs came out rubbery and gray. Jake walked in, gagged, and asked if something died in the kitchen. I honestly couldn't even smell it by then because I'd gotten used to it. It's not just that the food is bad, it smells awful. Burnt, sour, greasy, just bad. I can tell Jake's getting more and more pissed. He's mentioned the smell a few times like, dude, it smells like a garbage disposal in here. What are you even cooking? And I never know how to answer without embarrassing myself. My guy, let's just not buy food that tends to smell bad. Like, invest in some frozen pizzas at this point. If you can't figure out how to make a fucking frozen pizza, you're absolutely cooked. Step away from the burners, or if the oven's too hard, get some fucking Hot Pockets. I can't believe it. The final straw was last night when I tried to make scrambled eggs with canned chili mixed in. Don't ask why, I thought it sounded good at the time. I burnt the eggs, the chili somehow separated into greasy sludge, and the whole apartment smelled like feet and wet dog. To make it worse, I left the pot soaking in the sink afterwards because the burnt ramen incident made me think soaking stuff was the best way to handle it. I figured I'd clean it in the morning, but Jake saw it, lost it, and went off about how I can't just break his shit and expect him to clean up after me. I didn't even realize I was doing that. I genuinely thought I was helping by soaking it. Okay, I think he was genuinely helping by soaking it, but like, you deserve that blow up, bro. You sound like a shitty ass roommate. I feel awful. I know I'm the problem, but I don't know how to fix it. Cooking has always been hard for me. I get overwhelmed and forget steps, or I hyper focus on one thing and screw everything else up. But now I'm not just embarrassing myself, I'm making my only friend miserable. I feel like a disgusting burden, and I'm scared I'm going to end up homeless because I can't figure out how to cook like a normal person. I just needed to get this off my chest. If you're the problem, you're what needs to be fixed. And I don't know if you need to go to a doctor and get diagnosed for something and get put on medication. Like, I want to be sympathetic of that, but like, there are so many solutions here, chat. In my head, like, switch to only frozen food that you can microwave or put in the oven that are simple steps that you're not creating insane concoctions from. Stop getting food that just traditionally smells bad. Or what I think is the best solution, go up to this roommate and say, hey bro, clearly I suck at cooking, but I'm really good at cleaning. Why don't we set something up where you cook for the both of us and I'll take over the dishes. I'll take over cleaning the bathroom. I'll take over vacuuming and mopping. Like, there's so many solutions here, and it blows my mind that bro can't figure it the fuck out. That's my only recommendation here, bro. Figure it the fuck out. Some autistic people can't figure these things out. What do you guys want me to say then? Oh shit, bro, well, you're autistic. Like, that's tough. Like, you're gonna have to do this the rest of your life. Like, no, I'm not trying to be like, oh, he's autistic, fuck him. Like, I'm not trying to say that. But what I am saying is like, bro, you're 28. You've had time in your life to like figure out what the solution is. I feel like by 28, you should at least have a solution here. Like I said, I don't want to diminish, like, having autism is hard. Everybody deals with it in different ways. But at 28, you need to figure something out. What was the quote that I said in a previous video? It was like, it's not your fault, but it is your problem. I'm not trying to shit on autistic people and be like, oh, you guys don't have it hard. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, it's not your fault that you have the autism, but it is your problem that you need to figure out. If other people in your life are clearly suffering based off of the things that you're doing in your life, and you also don't enjoy that you're doing these things, like, it's your problem. You gotta find some solution out there. I'm not a fan of enabling behavior. I think it's okay to call out bad behaviors and figure out, okay, we found the bad behavior. How do we fix this? Because if you just keep enabling that behavior, it's just gonna go on until this man is 50 and he can't cook and nobody wants to be around him because the way that he lives his life actively makes everybody else's around him worse. A bunch of people are saying this in chat. I also don't think he's the devil. I want to make that clear. I don't think this belongs in Am I the Devil? I think this is someone who, like, maybe, you know, if he's 28 living with his parents, like, maybe his parents have enabled this behavior for so long until they couldn't handle it anymore, and now they're sending this kid out without properly helping him figure out this behavior. I think there are a lot of scenarios here where this guy has been set up for failure, but at the end of the day, like, it is really his responsibility to figure it out, especially at the age of 28. But I agree with you guys. I don't think he's the devil. I think this is a shitty situation that you can bounce back from. We came up with like 8 different solutions, and I think all of them would work. Posted in r/true unpopular opinion, the great replacement theory isn't a theory, It's mathematically self-evident. I think I know what this is, but for the sake of the video, I want a full explanation. Great Replacement theory is a debunked white nationalist far-right conspiracy theory. The original theory states that with the complicity or cooperation of replacist elites, the ethnic French and white European populations at large are being demographically and culturally replaced by non-white peoples, especially from Muslim majority countries through mass migration, demographic growth, and a drop in the birth rate of white Europeans. Since then, similar claims have been advanced in other nationalist contexts. So basically, it's extremely racist. OP starts it off with, just to be clear, because this is Reddit, and unless you explicitly add a disclaimer, people will fill in the gaps themselves. I'm not a Nazi, a conspiracy theorist, and I don't wish ill will towards anyone who is non-white, etc. With that out of the way, the Great Replacement theory isn't a theory. It's actually extremely easy to prove with math that even a 5-year-old can understand. Typical condescending way that somebody writing a post like this would start it off with. Look at my own nation, for example, the UK. Our native population has an average birth rate of 1.44 children per couple. That's not enough to maintain a population, never mind grow it. Immigrants, however, particularly from places like India, Sub-Saharan Africa, and the Middle East, all have children comfortably above that replacement level, some as high as 5 children per couple on average. The data also shows they often have more children in Western nations compared to their own, likely due to the various welfare systems and comparatively safer environment to raise children. Combine this with the recent explosion in immigration, both legal and illegal, to Western nations, and you have a trend that cannot be denied. If things carry on along this path and we extrapolate over time, many demographic groups, including my own, will be replaced. It's not a theory, it's math. It quickly becomes a matter of when, not if. And again, to be clear, I'm not trying to make a political point here. I'm not claiming to know why this is happening or who is orchestrating it. This is purely about the demographic reality, not things we cannot prove. The only people who actually give a shit about this are racist white people. Therefore, it's very easy to assume that the person that wrote this is racist, white. They are trying to claim they know why this is happening and who is orchestrating it, because every racist white person just loves to blame anybody with colorful skin, even if it's true. It's a good thing, because if it wasn't true, that means that there would be a majority of people out there who are racist. Like if white people were only hooking up with white people. It's so dumb, bro. I hate this shit, chat. Every white person who thinks about this and thinks like this wants to be a victim. Oh, wee woo. You guys are being racist towards me, even though traditionally the white man has way more privilege in all history ever and are the ones that commit racism. But no, you guys are the victims here. Tells me everything I need to know about OP. Oh, hi, buddy. Beans has saved us from the deep dive that is into this awful human being. It's Beans. The star of the show is here, chat. He was being all snuggly this morning. He was laying on my chest and shit. Hi, buddy. Yeah. Oh, you're so sweet. You're just the sweetest guy. Oh, yeah. Beans wants one thing. Yeah, there he is. Guys, I feel like we haven't done a Beans treat session in a while. These ones are from Tyann and Yetta for the 5 gifted. Thank you guys so much. Here you go, handsome man. Hey, Iman, thank you for the $7 donation, only because Beans blessed us with his presence. Thank you, Iman. Yes, Beans did in fact bless us with his presence. And thank you for the gifted sub, Frey. We got 3 more from you guys. Thank you for the gifted subs. Thank you guys for the donations. Ooh, look at that. Donnie with the gifted sub. Hollow with the gifted sub. 2 more just from chat and from you guys in general. Thank you guys for supporting me and my handsome man. Ooh. You're just a handsome guy. No. He said, treats are done. I'll fight you. Posted in r/legal advice. 30 years old, no criminal background. Wichita, Kansas. Today, I was put in cuffs and slammed against a window over an energy drink I didn't steal. I went to a local Dillon's today, grocery store owned by Kroger. When I go shopping there, I tend to pick up a Monster energy drink and drink it while I shop. I always pay for them. When I grabbed one out of the store fridge today and opened it, I noticed it was flat and dented. I threw it away in the trash can in store and grabbed a new one. I paid for the new one with my groceries on the way out. A manager, and I could only assume since his badge was backwards, a security guard stopped me just outside the doors, placing a hand on my shoulder and asking me to come back inside. I did. When we got back in the store, they pointed to a steel door and obscure staircase and told me to go up it. I refused. They told me that I damaged property and that it was stealing. I told them it was damaged when I picked it up and threw it away. I apologized for not bringing it up to an associate, but they didn't care. The assumed security guard kept telling me I needed to just come upstairs and make it right, and told me I should pay for the drink. Apparently my opening it meant I had damaged the already damaged product. I refused to pay for it, refused to go upstairs. They told me they'd call the police if I didn't comply. I sat by their ice chest, telling them that I would wait until the police arrived. While I waited, I called 911 and explained that I have extreme anxiety problems and asked that they inform the officers that I was stepping out for a cigar and attempting to calm down. How do you have extreme anxiety problems but have no problem opening a drink in the store that you haven't paid for yet and walking around drinking it without getting anxiety? I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm not an extremely anxious person. Doing this would make me so fucking anxious. Maybe I'm being an asshole and like discrediting his anxiety here, but that's really fishy to me. In the process of heading out, 2 officers came in the door. They asked me to come back inside, and I did. I explained that I was on the phone with 911, while one officer demanded that I go up the same stairs the security guard had indicated earlier. I refused and told the officer that they could take me to the police station, but I would not go up those stairs. Now is a good time to mention that I'm on medication for bipolar disorder and severe anxiety. As I was telling the officer that I would go to the police office, I felt one of them sliding a handcuff over my wrist behind my back. No warning, no nothing. I panicked and tried to turn to see what was happening, and an officer restrained me as they continued trying to put on cuffs. Looks like OP added an edit. I remember that I did turn back and forth asking what they were doing and trying to see. I did try to remain calm after I realized there was no sense in struggling. I settled down and waited, but then they started dragging me up the stairs again. I panicked and tried to back away. I told them I wouldn't go up, but would go to the station. I struggled hard, and one officer shoved me face first against the store window while they checked the cuffs. They tried again to drag me upstairs. I guess I braced my foot on the door to try and stop. It was terrifying, and by the time they got me upstairs, I was nearly in tears. They were telling me to comply. I was shouting that I would, but I would not go up the stairs. My guy, you're just making it worse for yourself. Just go up the fucking stairs. Don't get me wrong, guys. I don't think the cops should be arresting him over like a $3 can of Monster. This is totally an overreaction all around, but like, also, bro could have just paid for the can. Like, I firmly don't believe you should open something in a grocery store that you haven't paid for yet. If you really need to fucking open it while you're shopping, go pay for it and then open it so that you can continue shopping, but have already purchased this thing. That to me is the right move. This whole thing's ridiculous all around. He could have just paid for it. He could have just gone up the stairs. They shouldn't be arresting him over a $3 can of Monster, but like, honestly, this is all on OP. In the office upstairs, I argued with the officer that he couldn't do this and that it was assault. I felt like it was. I told him I wasn't under arrest and hadn't been read my rights, so it was wrong. He told me that it wasn't assault, that I was under arrest, and that being in cuffs means that I'm under arrest. Once he said that, I did my best to settle. I sat calmly for the rest of the I don't know what to call it in the office after being told I was under arrest. Inside, I was at full panic. I explained to someone that I had mental issues I am being medicated for, and suddenly everyone calmed down. A high-ranking officer showed up to review the tape of the arrest because of my screaming and flailing while being cuffed. I'm guessing someone had called the police. The police should be focused on something else. Why are there 3 police officers here over a fucking can of Monster? Like, I get it. This is definitely OP's fault for reacting that way and they had to bring someone in, but like, I blame OP and the police officers. Oh God, it's only gonna get worse, chat. Hold on. Anyway, I gave them all my information and told them my side of the story when asked, the whole time choking back tears. They told me they were giving me a ticket, but the aggressive officer and security guard kept talking to me. You understand why we had to stop you. You understand the store's reasoning. I did tell you you were under arrest. The security guard repeatedly equated himself to the police telling me about how they did their jobs. Finally, they wrote me a ticket and said I could go, telling me about a court date next month. 2 important things: when I was being cuffed and cooperating, prior to being dragged upstairs, I called the security guard a small-dicked F-slur. Not my brightest moment, but I'd better own up to it now. Also, my left wrist and thumb are completely numb after the struggle. I have cuts and impressions from the cuffs, but they adjusted them and made sure they fit after I told them about it. I made sure the officer noted the complaint in his report. What do? I don't get in legal trouble, and I feel like I should just pay whatever ticket and move on, but I also don't think this is fair or right. I feel like I've been wronged. Have I? Should I do anything? Edit. I get that throwing away the drink was a dumb idea. I just honestly didn't think about it. It was early. I was getting breakfast. It just didn't occur to me. So avoidable, bro. All you had to do was be like, oh yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't have done that. Here's $3. Honestly, just for that fact, OP totally fucking deserves it. I don't think this should ever be a cop's priority. I don't think a big corporation like Kroger is really going to take that bad of an L from a $3 Monster Energy drink, but bro made this so much worse than it had to be. And just for this fact, you deserved everything that happened to you here. You could have just not. It's that simple. And like I said, y'all, I think if you go into a grocery store, don't fucking open anything until you have paid money for it. By buying something, you are in contract with those people. Like, you have not technically signed the contract that you're buying that thing. Everyone does suck here. The cops suck. The store sucked. Honestly, though, I don't blame the security guard. Like, that's what he's being paid for. But still, just dumb. This is funny as fuck. I can't believe he was fighting back like that. Fighting back will only lead to bad things. Even if it is wrong, at that point, you just gotta like lie still, take it, and just hope that the body cam footage is on. Am I the a-hole for referring to a girl as stacked? Was hanging out with my girlfriend and her friend. They were joking about how the other day, the two of them were hanging out at a bar and a lot of guys were buying drinks for her friend and walking up to her friend and flirting with her, but none went up to my girlfriend. My girlfriend was like, haha, cause you're prettier, or some fake BS like girls do. And the friend was saying it's cause she gives off single girl vibes, cause she's single, whereas my girlfriend gives off vibes of someone not looking to meet anyone cause she's in a relationship. I jokingly said to the friend, it's because you're stacked, as the reason why guys kept flirting with her and buying drinks. It was a semi-joke, but both my girlfriend and the friend got pissed off at me for making that comment. I apologized, but they were all like, this is why we don't invite you to come out with us. Was I in the wrong? I think I've made not necessarily a joke about this, but I've said probably something similar to some of my gal friends, but like in a not fucking creepy way. Like being like, oh, it's because you're stacked is really fucking creepy. There's a way to be like, oh, let's be honest, guys are pigs and they're probably only hitting on you because that's what guys like look for. The way that he said it, especially in front of his girlfriend, is like, bro, what the fuck are we doing? Apparently this clown is lighthearted and really funny with his deadpan sense of humor. He keeps repeating those words in his responses. Also, he makes racist jokes about his Asian girlfriend. Also, he is a sexist pig. Just a terrific guy all around. Apparently, there's some digging for other stuff here, but dude, just like read the room. Don't be a fucking weirdo about it. Like saying, oh, bro, it's because you're stacked is a weird thing to say. Surprised OP ain't single by now. It's funny. It's like, oh, this is why we don't invite you to come out with us. Then why are you fucking dating him? R/advice. How to deal with the new reality. I don't love my girlfriend and miss my ex-wife/best friend. I made some stupid choices 2 years ago and I hate my life. My ex-wife, we both are 28. Her birthday is actually coming up, and so I'm reminiscing. We will call her Jess for the purposes of this post. Jess and I were high school sweethearts and best friends. We were together since freshman year of high school. We would literally laugh about everything together. I'm smiling as I type this. We went from best friends to boyfriend and girlfriend in the span of a couple of months. Funny story, I didn't even realize she considered me her boyfriend until she introduced me to her parents as her boyfriend. We had kissed once and never spoke about the kiss again at that point, LOL, but I was ecstatic. Everything was great. We got married and she was genuinely the greatest wife you can ask for. 2 years ago, I fucked up. You know, one thing that bothered me was I only had sex with her. We were both each other's first and only. I also never found her that physically attractive. She was above average, but I liked her because of the connection we had. One day when I was out with my friends, Michael and Rob and I got wrapped up with this woman, Sydney. She was stunning, a few drinks and I get her number. I was conflicted, but Michael encouraged me. He wanted me to go test and see what I like. God, what a dog shit friend. Holy fuck. Rob didn't. He found Jess's and I's story heartwarming and said it's great. I wish I listened to Rob, but I didn't. I pursued it and decided to give myself a year hall pass. I would do my thing for a year and then stop when Jess and I started trying for a baby. You can't fucking give yourself a hall pass. Like, already by that, I can already tell he does not take full accountability just by calling it giving myself a hall pass. No, dumbass, you cheated. Well, Sydney got pregnant. At first, I didn't believe it was mine because we had only had sex with a condom once. Just my luck. The baby was mine. And since this post is already long, I won't go too deep, but a lot of drama happened. Sydney at first didn't know I had a wife, and I didn't want her to keep it, but she insisted. Hold on. Sydney at first didn't know I had a wife. So you're telling me she's either stupid or the night that you met her out at this bar, you had your ring off. Like, this is too fucking sus. Too many holes, too many gaps, too many weird things happening. Sydney and I are trying to make a relationship work for our daughter, and while I love my daughter, it is also a reminder of how I blew up a relationship with my wife/best friend. The pain I caused her hurts me. I still remember the screams at me, and she never yelled at me before. Most of our arguments we can talk calmly, but she just went off. Sydney and I have this loveless relationship. She still resents me for not telling her I had a wife, and we're only together for the baby. But we don't have that best friend relationship I had with Jess, the laughs, the inside jokes, being able to talk for hours all the time. I just want to leave this all behind and get Jess back, but she doesn't want to talk to me. My advice to y'all is that focus on the emotional connection more than just looks and lust. Any advice you have for me would be great. Go to therapy, nut up, and sleep in the bed that you made, bro. Like, you can't woe is me when you fucked up that bad, and I really don't think he's truly taken accountability for how much he fucked up here. I don't think he should stay with Sydney. Like, I genuinely think it's better for the daughter if she doesn't grow up with parents that fucking resent each other. But other than that, bro, you kind of got to accept you're never going to get Jess back, nor do you deserve Jess back. At this point, I think you just got to be focused on going to therapy to make yourself better and making sure your daughter doesn't grow up to be a piece of shit like you. Am I overreacting? I vented to my mom and told her to die. I, 25 female, told my mom to die out of spite that I am born short. I am 156 centimeters, so that checks out at about 5'1", and I absolutely hate it. Today, I don't know what got into me, but I just felt like saying it to her face. I've always aspired to be taller, say 5'6" at least, but with my parents' genetics, or should I say my mom's, because she's very short, and bad sleeping habits, I didn't grow tall enough for myself to respect myself at all. I hated how boxy and chunky I look because of the lack of height, and recently I started binge eating my frustration away, which made me gain weight. I had so much to give up because of my height. I couldn't do any of my dream professions: runway model, pageant contestant, NFL cheerleader. Can't wear the kind of fashion I want because I don't have legs for days. And I can't even get married because I'll either poison someone else's gene pool or create really ugly kids like my mom did. My only option is to be homosexual because I can't risk even an accident. Edit, I'm seeing a therapist doesn't help. For such a small paragraph, there is so much fucked up shit that she was able to fit in here. This is insane. I truly believe letting things that you have no control over bug you is the recipe to being unhappy in life. If you go through life being like, woe is me, I'm short, and because of that, my life is going to be shit, of course it's going to be shit. Because you've made a decision that something that you have no control over is going to result in your life being shit. To me, that's a pretty stupid way to live life. Don't get me wrong, as a short dude, it kind of sucked playing sports. I literally had a hockey scout come up to me and be like, yeah, like we would have considered you, but you're just not tall enough to be put on our roster. Did that suck? Yes. Was I upset about it at the time? Yeah, but I just kind of eventually came to the conclusion that, like, I was not put on this earth to be a professional hockey player. OP was not put on this earth to be an NFL cheerleader, pageant contestant, or runway model. Hey, bro, there are other things in this life, though. Here I am making YouTube videos. Honestly, way better fit for me than being a professional hockey player. Dude, if you want to put that limitation for yourself, that's on you. But, like, your life doesn't suck because you're short. Your life sucks because you let you being short keep you from being happy in life. Posted in r/off my chest India. I can't seem to like ugly women. Hi, I'm 19 male. I'm a medical student. I've been in one relationship, which was 3 years ago. Been focusing on my studies ever since, with flirting every once in a while. Recently, I realized just how much a woman's attractiveness influences my behavior towards her. Last week, I met someone who was genuinely interesting to talk to. We had a lot in common, from music taste to humor. As we continued our conversation, we exchanged pictures. Okay, I think what he's leaving out is that this interaction was online. The moment I saw her, I noticed that I didn't find her attractive, which is fine. But after that, my entire interaction with her changed. I found myself unable to see her even as a friend, as if spending time with her was suddenly meaningless. And it's not that I don't have female friends without romantic interest. I do. But I've noticed that all of them are conventionally attractive, or at least I find them attractive. Okay, so that just screams that you only are friends with them because they're attractive and there might be a chance for you in the future to date them, which is a fucked reason to keep women around as friends. Like, that's not why you should be friends with a woman. You should be friends with them because you actually have a good friendship. When I think rationally, I know this mindset is flawed, not just morally, but also for my own personal growth. Prioritizing someone's look to this extent feels wrong. How can I change this behavior? How can I learn to see women beyond the lens of a potential romantic partner? Any advice, insights, or even personal experiences would be greatly appreciated. I apologize if this post offends anybody. Not everyone judges women from this lens, and I honestly believe people deserve better than this kind of bias. I mean, at least he identifies that this isn't okay. Throwing this at Am I the Devil, don't get me wrong, like everything up to this point is very much Am I the Devil, but based off this reaction, like I almost don't want to put it Am I the Devil? Like, is there a subreddit for like previously not self-aware man suddenly becomes self-aware? Like, I think the only way I really would argue that this guy's the devil is if he hadn't come to that conclusion and was arguing for why this is an okay thing, but clearly he's like, holy shit, this is wrong of me. I don't really know how to go about fixing this. Any tips? Do we really want to shit on someone for like actively trying to figure out a way to improve themselves? Because I feel like the way that you can discourage that is by shitting on them. If they're like, oh, I came to this realization and I truly want to fix it, and all the internet wants to do is shit on me and call me the devil, I think that's not very productive to like creating a better human being out of somebody who wants to be a better human being. I actually don't know what my recommendation here is. Like, is therapy plausible? I think he definitely needs to talk this out and maybe find the root of it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if his parents raised him in a way to only think of women as potential suitors to marry. He sounds like he's trying to change, but there's always a question mark if you're going to the internet and not like therapy. Yes, but he is 19. Like, I know he's an adult and in theory he should know better, but like, I think when you're in that area of life, you're not fully an adult, you're like pre-adult, and there's still shit that you need to hash out. Like, if this guy was like 25, I'd be like, yeah, bro, you should have figured this shit out way earlier. Do other people have this figured out? Yes. Should it be the norm that it's figured out? Yes. But hey, better late than never. And like now, hopefully people are like, yeah, bro, therapy, do it. That's the solution that the internet gives me that I couldn't come to myself. Let me go do it. Bro, I'm 19. I don't think like that. Great for you. I think that's a very privileged perspective to come from. Yes, you're 19, you learn better, 100%, that's awesome, and that's how that should be. But like, not everybody's education around this or the way that they grow up to influence this is the same. So like, the way I look at it is if you're 19 and you run into somebody who doesn't know algebra, and for you to sit there and be like, well, I'm 19 and I know algebra, therefore every 19-year-old should know algebra. To me, that's very privileged because like maybe that 19-year-old grew up in a family that wasn't supportive of the school system and he had to drop out of school to start working to support his family or something like that. Or maybe, you know, he got initiated into a gang because his family wasn't around and he wanted to be around quote unquote family. You know, like, I'm not trying to like shit on y'all or anything like that, but I do think being like, oh, well, just because I knew that, everybody else should know that is just an in general kind of privileged way to think about norms. I think it's a privilege to have parents that will instill good values into you because there's so many fucking bad parents out there. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy right here had dog shit ass parents who have taught him that the only relationships you should have with women should be if you're conventionally attracted to them. Or maybe he had friends who were preaching this, you know? Maybe he fell down the wrong path on the internet. Like, it truly is a privilege to have good parents that don't send you down a path. He should stop surrounding himself with women as his peers until he figures out his mentality. The current way that he interacts with women is clearly unhealthy, and until he figures out how to do it in a healthy manner, I think he needs to take a step back. Am I the a-hole for taking out a payday loan so I can go to LVLUP Expo and get my cosplay right? My parents are furious with me to the point of cutting me off. This is one of those ones where I see myself as being 80% right, but I want to be fair because honestly, I depend on my parents for a lot of stuff. Rent, tuition, food, and car insurance. I'm huge into cosplay and gaming. It has been my dream to go to a big convention in my cosplay. A friend suggested we go to LVLUP since it has everything we like. The badges aren't super expensive, but we decided we wanted to super splurge on accommodations, so maybe we could host parties in our room. So the total cost of my trip, including everything, airfare, room, estimate for food, badge, is about $3,500. I had $2,000 that I was supposed to pay towards my credit card, but I decided to get the rest, I would get a payday loan. This was back in March, so the trip is all paid for. My inner finance bro is tingling because this is the worst fucking thing that you could do, bro. I don't want to go all finance bro on you guys like that, but a general rule is if you don't have the money, do not spend it. I'm not trying to shit on cosplay. I know it's fun. You should get to experience the hobbies that you like as you feel fit. That being said, I don't think cosplay and throwing parties in your room is worth $3,500 fucking dollars, especially when most of the things in your life are being paid for by your parents. And on top of that, you have credit card debt, bro. Credit card debt can snowball so fast. I wanted to keep it a secret from my parents, but I accidentally missed my first payment to the payday loan. And for some God knows how reason, the people at the payday loan place did a search for my name since I was ducking their calls until I could borrow some money from a friend. And they called my parents' home number looking for me. I can't even imagine this is legal. It's definitely legal if you are not paying back the loan that you probably have a contract for. So here's the deal. I'm not like so dense that I don't understand I messed up. I mean, I know that I need to pay my debts, but here's the deal. I mean, I'm only in college once and I only get to do things like level up while I'm young. I also think this was a very normal mistake, and my parents should give me enough room to make mistakes and learn from them. But my parents are freaking the hell out. My dad has basically said this is it, that after the credit card debt and my grades, and now the payday loan and missing a payment, I have shown a level of irresponsibility that he can't trust me anymore, and I either need to move home to go to community college and work for his company, or he cuts me off for good. As harsh as that was, my mom was even worse, and she literally screamed at me, like cussing names, and told me that they didn't raise me like this, and I'm acting like a spoiled Instagram asshole. Edit, just for clarification, I'm a 20 female. I totally thought this was a dude. My gender bias on that one went burr. Yes, OP is the asshole, but also I kind of want to fucking blame the parents. Bro, your parents are the ones that are supposed to teach you that you're like pulling some shit like this and how to be responsible with your money. Like maybe that's too much. Maybe OP is completely deaf, but it sounds like OP is kind of young, is kind of responsible. I can't say I was making the smartest financial choices when I was 20 years old, but by God, was I not doing this shit. I think the biggest thing for me is OP's lack of accountability. That is the part that rubs me the wrong way. You fucked up on a major level, and you need to realize that your parents' reaction is not an overreaction here. If you are getting bad grades, going into further debt, more than just the college debt you're accumulating, and now you're taking out loans to go to cosplay events, we need to backtrack. We need to reassess and reevaluate life's priorities because something's out of fucking whack here. OP has no idea how bad they're fucking up here. This isn't am I the devil? This is am I stupid and irresponsible? And the answer is fuck yes, girl. Listen to your parents. They are cooking here. You are making big mistakes. r/ask men advice. I opened up to my girlfriend and I think it destroyed my relationship with her. Before my girlfriend, I was the type of guy who could sleep with multiple different women in a week and not feel a thing. Obviously, I promised them the world on the outside, but deep down, I didn't feel a thing for them. I had the emotional capacity of a rock, but with her, it changed. She is the very first person I care more about than myself, and the first person I thought I could actually show true emotions towards. A little while ago, the dog of my father's side, who I grew up with, died, and I was alone with my girlfriend, and I just broke. It was the first time in years or even a decade that I cried. I just couldn't hold it in anymore. Somehow this also opened up other things inside of me that I didn't deal with emotionally ever. Like, for example, that I basically grew up without a mom, and the fact that I was very insecure about my body for a long time because of my weight, which made me go into the other direction later on, where I do sports nearly every other day to never be overweight again. This whole venting felt really good, but all my girlfriend answered afterwards was, "Are you done? Then you better go to sleep," which I found pretty odd, but I didn't think too much about it. Now, ever since her attitude towards me changed, before she regularly just vented about her work and dated me and asked me for advice, she would tell me stories from when she was younger. She would randomly do cute little things for me. She doesn't do any of that anymore. Like, none of it. At first, I really didn't know what I did, and maybe I am just overthinking it, but since I saw this subreddit and read the experiences of other men, it somehow clicked for me. I think I lost her respect ever since I opened up. What do I do in this situation? Is there a chance to make things right again? Because like I said, she is the only person I have ever opened up towards, and I don't think I can get the same trust with anyone else again. Me personally, I feel like this is an everyone sucks here, because OP's obviously kind of a fucking dickhead with the way that he was talking about how he treated women and basically lying to them to sleep with them. I don't really fuck with the girlfriend. Like, dudes should be allowed to have emotions too. Guys should be able to express when they're feeling sad. I kind of agree though. It is kind of a case of what goes around comes around a little bit. What a fucking story filled of unempathetic human beings, bro. Like, OP clearly needs therapy. That is just evident. I also just think it sucks that like OP finally let the floodgates open and then got shit on it for it. Like, oh, hey, he might have made leaps and bounds to like actually start becoming a better human being because he's been bottling everything up his entire life. And now the person that he finally trusted to open up about it shit on him for it. And now he's probably just gonna go right back to bottling it up. To me, it doesn't seem like a productive way to like build up a human to improve from the dog shit person he was in this first paragraph. But I mean, I don't know. I guess we could make an argument for karma really do be a bitch. I think if you're dating somebody and they finally let the can of worms open, you know, they're pretty reserved. They don't tell you a lot about stuff in their life, but now they're opening up to you finally. Like, you got to fucking activate. It feels weird to me that he's like talking about how his family dog died. He grew up without a mom and it affected him. He opens up about being insecure about his body. Some other things probably came out. And then she was just like, "You fucking done yet?" Like, I don't think that's an appropriate response. This dude isn't nearly as bad as the commenters. I hate how they're acting like she's pulling away because he opened up and cried and not because he has a history of treating women like shit. Here's my problem, chat. Everyone's evaluating this on like the girlfriend is treating him like shit because he treated women previously like shit and now it's tit for tat. Whereas I think they're two separate cases. Like, OP's a fucking dickhead because of the way that he's been treating women in his past. But now we have this separate event where he finally opens up about his stuff, which, like, don't get me wrong, he needs therapy and to figure it the fuck out. And maybe we could argue about some sort of trauma dump, but like, I think with your partner, you should be able to share the things that you are very emotional about. But I still think it's a separate case. We have this case where he's a fucking dickhead, but now we have this other one where it's like, he's opening up to his girlfriend who should care about his emotions and should allow him to be emotional, even if he's a man, and she's shitting on him. Like, she's not pulling away because of his history of treating women like shit. She's pulling away because he opened up to her. So like, that's why I want to go with everyone sucks here. Like, don't get me wrong, OP sucks ass, but I also think this girlfriend sucks ass. Is it possible for everyone is the devil in one of these stories? I kind of fuck with that too. Like, I think OP has some serious issues around how he treats women and probably needs to go to therapy for that. And I'd say he's the devil. I also think you're the devil if you're a woman and your mindset is that men can't be emotional. Men can't have thoughts and feelings and wants because you're a man and you're just supposed to tough it out. That to me is fucking stupid. Am I the a-hole for growing cold when I learned about my girlfriend's past? I'm male 30, met who I thought was my dream girl, female 29. Everything clicked and I never felt so comfortable with someone before. She's beautiful and kind and gentle and everything I was looking for in a partner. One night, she disclosed that she had a serious relationship before me where they engaged in sexual stuff without intercourse being involved, and that was the only time she ever had, as she had never dated before. He was her first and only kiss and everything else. I got cold feet knowing that because I thought she was never touched by anyone before. This made me grow cold with her, and that seemed to really hurt her. She said that I made her feel like her value as a partner depended on her past. I believe that sex is an important part of a relationship as that helps assess physical compatibility, and I myself did have sex with my exes in the past, but I wanted my girlfriend to be mine only. I can't help that I feel cold now, but I still want to keep seeing her. What a little fucking hypocrite, bro. Like, you're saying you're a fucking man slut and you're more concerned with the fact that she had sex with one person. I will never understand people like this. It blows my mind. She's beautiful, kind, gentle, and everything I was looking for, but she did something that I've also done and had premarital sex. She had sex with somebody else. Ugh, I'm just so cold. I can't get over my little stupid man-child brain and get over the fact that adults are gonna have sex with each other because that's what you do, bro. Fucking ridiculous, man. Bro, go to therapy and get a fucking lobotomy. She's 29 and has only gone to third base with one guy. Leave her alone, dude. Maybe I'm in the wrong circles, but I have very few friends who are around my age and haven't been around the bases a couple of times, you know? Like, and that's fine. I think that's how it should be. I think that's the norm, but like, I feel like it's very uncommon to be 30 and still a virgin. Am I the a-hole for asking my pregnant with twins wife for a specific blowjob day of the week? We have a 31 female wife who's pregnant 21 weeks with twins. Before we get into the last story, if this is your second or third video of mine and you're really enjoying them, but you haven't subscribed yet, just would like to remind you to subscribe. It really helps me out. And if this is your first video, you're really enjoying it and you want more videos like this, I have over 140 reading Reddit videos up on my channel. So after this video is done, feel free to head on over there and check those out. I also would like to take this time to present my channel memberships if you guys want to support me and get a couple of extra perks. The first tier is only $2 a month. You get access to all my emojis, all my members only streams, and you get access to some old videos that I've privated, but I'm going to start allowing only members to be able to see these videos. So this is a vlog that I uploaded 8 years ago. You can see cringy old Sarby if you're really interested in it, but only members have access to the videos. Only the members can see how cringe I used to be. On top of that, I have a $6 a month tier, which gives you early access to my videos. So as soon as they're uploaded and ready to go, I make them live for my members only, as well as any exclusive long form videos that I choose to make for members only. And then I kind of have this bigger $25 month tier that is honestly excessive. There's nothing super extra other than you get a signed photo from me and Beans. So if you're interested in signing up for any of these memberships, all you got to do is click the join button right next to the subscribe button, pick which tier you want, and hit join. I want to specify as well, the memberships are not required by any means, but they are greatly appreciated. Thank you guys. Back to the video. I sound like an idiot. I sound like a sex-hungry, typical man, I know, but I'm at my wit's end. This pregnancy has been nothing short of horrific. For us both, it's our third pregnancy via IVF. We have a 2-year-old, the second miscarried, and this pregnancy is twins. From the get-go, there was blood, daily blood. Then there was what only can be described as a nosebleed amount of blood. Off to the hospital we went, everything's okay. Days passed, we had sex on our wedding anniversary, and then immediately there were lots of dark blood clots. Everything was okay after a scan. More scans, more scans. By the time it came to our 20-week scan, we had been to 10 scans, made up of private self-reassurance scans and hospital visits, namely due to the constant blood. Our 20-week scan showed 3 worrying things. 1, a short cervix, 2, placenta over the cervix, and 3, blood lakes on the placenta, but not making up more than 30%. Real quick, guys, I have no idea what a blood lake is. I'm gonna Google that. During pregnancy, blood lakes, also known as placental lakes, are hypoechoic spaces filled with maternal blood within the placenta that are often seen on ultrasound scans and are typically considered a normal finding, not a cause for concern unless very large or numerous or seen early in pregnancy. So TLDR, it is something to be worried about. So we have an awful lot to worry about. On top of this, her morning sickness was horrific to the point she vomited blood. That stopped a few weeks ago, but overall, she's been through the mill. We've been and are still on the edge of our seat with it all. Before the most recent scan, we'd not been having sex because of the blood. Since the scan, she's been reading a lot of books and decided that sex is bad for the conditions she had, and if that's the case, then I'm okay with it. The wedding anniversary occasion was the stuff of nightmares, and I don't want to cause the death of them through sex. She's read there could be cervix funneling, and so she's not to get excited, so I can't stimulate her clitoris or other non-penetrative means. And so I've said, you can still give me a blowjob though. And so there's nothing. I've had one in the last 6 weeks. I think it's longer than that. I don't know, but it's only going to be less. I asked her today as our 2-year-old went to sleep, whilst he's asleep, can we? No, I can't be arsed. So I sighed. What you sighing for? Initially, I didn't say. Well, she asked. So I told her I'm sexually frustrated and asked her, can you make time for it? Can we have a specific day of the week? This is a joke. I'm going to sleep, she responded. I sound tragic, desperate, and I feel like I'm begging. I know, but at the moment, it's just off the cards. It's not offered. I have to ask. There's no initiation from her. Almost every day, I massage either her back, shoulders, feet. I try to be attentive. I try to make her feel good. Shouldn't it be being returned? You fucking moron. She is carrying 2 crotch goblins that you put inside of her. The least you can do is give her a massage and not hound her for a blowjob, bro. Like, this is a red flag to me. Don't get me wrong, y'all. I like sex just as much as the other guy. That being said, if you need to go 9 months without having sex, bro, you've probably done it before. You will survive it. Hey, take some of those pictures and videos that you probably maybe have of you and your wife and just go stroke your shit in the bathroom if you're sexually frustrated. If you want to not have being pregnant get in the way of you having sex with your wife, don't put babies into her. Oh, if it isn't the consequences of your own action of wanting to breed. I've made this comparison before in a previous video and so many people got so fucking mad about it, but I'll say it again because I'll die on this hill. Giving a massage is not the same physically or consensually in any way, shape, or form to having sex. Bro, if you really want a blowjob that bad from her, that needs to be her decision. Be like the best fucking husband ever, and if she feels like it, she'll give it to you. That's how blowjob should be. It shouldn't be, oh, we need to make a day of the week that you're gonna suck my dick. Like, what? What a fucking stupid concept.